Right, let's actually be professional and do our job.
Okay.
So, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
You have a little bit of an intro to yourself and what you do, and then we can see where we go from there.
Yeah, so I am Coral. I am a co-founder of Coach Curran. I'm also a mum and an IT consultant. Everything.
Okay, so a coach and IT consultant don't normally go hand in hand.
Yes.
Which came first?
The IT. So the IT is like my career. That's where I started out technically. But then a couple of years ago, about 3 years coming up, my partner and me, obviously we both are very into our fitness, always have been our whole lives. And he said to me, really want to start a coaching business. And I said, okay, let's do it. So that's how it started.
Okay, so career-wise, so how did the career in IT come about, and what does that involve?
Okay, that's a bit of a story, to be honest. So I did criminology at university. From there, my dissertation was on human trafficking. Now,
There's so many layers to
there's
this already.
so many layers to my life. But that's what makes me such a well-rounded person. I did human trafficking dissertation, and as much as I enjoyed it, it was quite harrowing. I worked really, really hard on it. I actually got the highest grade ever awarded for a dissertation, which I was really proud of. And it was fantastic. But then at the end, when I came out of it, I was just in a really down place, really low place. Like sort of looking at those areas of society wasn't very nice. So I decided I needed to do something fun and just different for a little while just to pull myself back up. And I had a sales and marketing role, which whilst I was in that role, I had to redesign the website for the company. And I absolutely loved doing it, realised I was really good at it. And that's kind of where the IT stuff came into it. So I ended up going into a graduate's role doing a technical consultant, and it just spiralled from there. So that was about 11 years ago. So yeah, 11 years in IT.
And what does it involve, sort of day-to-day stuff that you do now within IT?
So it varies. So technically my specialism is Microsoft. So my main areas for the last sort of 9 years have been the Microsoft stack. The last couple of years I've gone contracting, which means I've taken on an array of different things. So whether that be consulting, but predominantly what I do is we'll speak to a business, work out what their requirements are, what they want to do, and then I will help them build out a solution to be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm already lost.
Yeah. I think I don't talk about it that much because I know that a lot of people get that glazed look of like, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. And I just think, oh yeah, so yeah, it's...
I think IT is such a wide field as well, isn't it? It kind of, it's probably the easiest term for people just to understand. Yeah, I do IT, and it's kind of, everyone's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, at the moment, it's actually worked out really well. So for the last sort of 5 years, I've been in healthcare. So I did private healthcare, and now I'm in public healthcare. So it definitely combines my two worlds and helps me with my passion of better healthcare, better health for everybody. So now I like to think of it as we run the coaching business as the first defence. So we try and help people help themselves. And then where I work now, it's like the last defence. I work in secondary care, so sort of working with hospitals and hospital trusts. Right. So helping them build out systems that for that last almost stage of the journey.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you still enjoy it as much as you did when you started out?
Yeah, I do. I love IT. And I always think of IT and healthcare as the same thing because both of them are just systems. Your body is a system and it works on different processes, and so does a computer. So it's just figuring out what's the best and the right process to be able to have the best outcome. Yeah. That's how I view both of those things.
Yeah, it makes sense. So so naturally then, so you started so your partner started the coaching business.
So he, bless his heart, he won't mind me saying this, he is not very business savvy.
Right. A lot of people aren't, to be fair.
No, not at all, no. So it works out really well because he's, as much as he doesn't think he is a people person. People really warm to him. He's very likeable. So he's brilliant at that side of things, and he knew he always wanted to do it. He knew he always wanted to help people. He almost sort of said to me, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me do it? So I said, of course. So for the last 2 years, for the first 2 years, I ran the business end. So I ran the back end, helped him build up the coaching. We called it Coach Curran. That's his last name. So he was almost the client's facing side of it, and I am the business, I am the back end.
Right.
Which obviously helping with my IT as well. From having a career in IT, I've always worked with very senior levels in all sort of parts of corporate world. So it's been quite easy for me to pick up things as going along as to how to run a business. I did a business GCSE as well, so I picked up aspects. But that obviously really helps, the way that I know IT and can build our own website and etc. That saves us a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
it must be the most processed, structured, IT built, best way
really
to start a business.
The funny thing is it definitely was at the beginning overkill.
Yeah.
Definitely overkill. I was like, right, we've got all these business processes, terms and conditions and privacy policies and etc. And Stephen's like, I've got one client, like, calm down.
Yeah, but if you can do it, I'd much rather have started that way than just straight up winging it on everything, like writing a contract sort of from a template on Word or something.
Yeah. It's I believe in, if you're going to do something, do it properly. And I'm glad that we did it that way now, because we didn't realise how quickly it would take off.
Yeah.
So we're not scrambling trying to get all those things now in place. They were already in place from the beginning. So it's kind of grown with the business, which has worked out really, really well.
Yeah, for sure.
And then in the last year, I have come on to be client facing as well.
Right.
So it's
how are you finding that?
A lot. Recently, I've struggled with it a lot more.
Okay.
I've taken on a couple of really big IT contracts, which I'm really, really enjoying. Love doing them. It's just finding the time to do it all. Sometimes I'm doing sort of 60-hour weeks on top of being a mum, primary parent as the mum. I do all the nursery runs. I'm, the person who realises she's run out of nappies or she needs new clothes, etc., etc. And then my own training and my own health and nutrition. So yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
So I know a lot of people struggle with. I'm one of them. Struggle with trying to do everything. So working, being a parent, going to the gym, eating right. It is a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. How are you finding the balance? Is there anything that you feel like? Do you think you got a balance that works?
Yes, I do, because I'm built that way. I don't think the way that I run my life is for everybody, but me and my partner, luckily, are very similar in the respect that we love routine, we love structure, so it works really well for us. Like, we like to have the 15-minute interval diary. Like, we love that. I literally have in my diary strip bed, like, change my bedding. It's shower. Toilet break, no, it doesn't go that far, but that's the way we run our lives.
You have to hold in the toilet break.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes to go. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. You've got a mum bladder, it really doesn't. So it works well for us. Don't get me wrong, it's really, really difficult, and it took us some time to fall into that. Like, now it works well, but we talk quite openly about the fact that we went for a really turbulent time last year, I believe it was. We broke up for a period of time, which I don't think a lot of people actually know. We had a relationship counsellor. We still have her as well. We think she's brilliant, because the relationship did get lost. And I think that comes with just having a child. Like, even just that would have been but the fact that we started a business, had a child, had a relationship, brought a house, both have full-time jobs.
It's really tough. I think having a business just alone is a lot. A mental capacity, time, and then you've got like for your example, you've got a business, then you've got your other business, and like the house, and then just even if you're taking that side of it, you've got 2 businesses and a child.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I just went into survival mode for about a year.
Yeah,
where all I was doing is just. It was a routine, a bad one of just getting up, kind of just getting through the day, and just zombie mode of getting through the day, trying to survive.
It's like autoplay, isn't it? You just it's almost like you switch off from everything. It's like, well, this is what you do. You just walk downstairs, you get the bowl out, you eat your breakfast. That's just it. That's just how you run your life. So we've both of us have made more of an effort this year to try and actually enjoy our lives rather than just constantly be on a process. But it's difficult, but you know, we always see it as we actually do enjoy it, and that's what we are sacrificing. And obviously then comes in the whole parent guilt. So that are you doing enough as a parent? Are you being the best mum you can be, the best dad you can be? Are you showing up? And there's definitely times where because both of our jobs are client facing as well. So you're dealing with people who are sometimes, you know, they need you. So
you're like an emotional support for them as well.
And sometimes me and Stephen are both on our phones, and she'll come in and she'll go, "Mummy, where's my phone?" And like my heart sinks because I think, all she's just watching us is on our phones, and now she wants to do that too. So that's probably the hardest struggle I think for both of us, is juggling the people and juggling.
It's really difficult. I mean, my little boy, he'll pick up. So I've got like a spare phone case. And he'll pick it up and he'll put it to his ear.
Yeah.
And he'll like, or tap it. And I think
there's
no way you should know how to do that.
I know.
Or the ones I feel really guilty about is, you know, sometimes you just need 5 minutes. So you put something on your phone, right? So he did it the other week, and my heart dropped when he got the phone and he turned it sideways. And I thought, how do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
You shouldn't know how to do that.
I know, scary.
And it's like great that he's smart and he's developing and stuff, but obviously he's had a phone enough to turn it sideways to know there's a bigger screen.
Yeah.
And I just don't like it.
No.
But it's so difficult to know. There's two things, and I kind of spin this around in my head all the time. I'm still a human being that only has a certain amount of capacity, like physical time, emotional capacity to be on.
Yeah.
And you can't be on for everybody all the time. And it's okay he's not in front of a screen all day long. No. You know what I mean? Like, he's not. He's at nursery most of the day when he's just engaged and
constant.
Then he comes home and it's dinner and it's fun. I'm allowed 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Of him to have. It's trying not to beat yourself up about it.
Don't you find though that sometimes I go through that circle in my head of like everything you've just said, and then I think, why am I trying to justify that, and who am I trying to justify that
that's
to?
That's the big thing.
Because, like you say, you're still a human. Like you still have those issues and like problems and that downtime that you need. So why are we so hard on ourselves? And one thing I've come to learn over the last couple of years is I've never done this before. Everybody is winging it. Everybody. I don't know what they say.
Even your parents. Like when you're young, you think your parents are perfect and they've got it all sussed out and they know what they're doing. But as soon as you become a parent, you're like, we're all winging it.
Yeah, everybody's winging it. Every day, every minute of every day, you're just like, okay, we're just going to go with whatever's happening.
Yeah.
So just not to be so hard on yourself sometimes, to be like, actually, this is okay. This is, I think social media is a bit of the devil, to be honest, but especially as a parent, but it's not. You just have to go with it, go with the flow, just do what you need to do when you need to do it, and don't feel like you have to justify yourself to anybody.
Yeah, I think that is the thing, is who are you justifying it? Who are you kind of doing it for, if you know what I mean? Because it is tough, and sometimes they get on your nerves, and sometimes you can be like impatient, and then like it's just being a parent, isn't it? At the end of the day, you can't. But the balance of being, how do you find that? Because there's two, like in the conversations I've had with people, there's sort of two schools of thought of that being a parent and being there. Some of them it's just you're the parent, you be there. Now is the time. And some are like, I'm building for the future. So if they don't have time now, but we've got the future of with the times in the future, if that makes sense. Work now for where do you sit with?
I have always been a very impatient person, and I think I've always sat more in the I want everything right now category. the last couple of years has made me realise, especially when I've been on my own health journey, the importance of delayed gratification. So I try and incorporate that into my life sometimes when being a parent. So I want to be around for her in the best capacity I can be for as much of her life as I can be. So I don't want to give up everything that makes me me to be there, constantly present all the time for her right now.
Yeah.
Because as much as that might be great, and some people choose to do that, and that's absolutely fine, I want to be a parent that is a great parent for her whole life.
Yeah.
And that means I do need my time out to go to the gym and work on myself. And I do need to have that, me and my partner are building a life and a business so that we can give her things in the future. Like even this year, like we were able to take her on holiday and pay for a really good holiday. She had the best time ever. And that's the memories that we make. And when we're there, both me and Stephen switched off for the whole week. We weren't on our phones, we didn't post on our stories, we didn't do any of it because we were present with her. And that's what we're building for. Also, as a mother of a daughter, that's what I want for her. I want her to look at me and see, you can have it all, you can do it all, you can. It might be hard, but you can if you work at it and have the right people around you. And, and health and fitness is just as important as all of that. I think a lot of mums forget themselves and they just become mum and that's it. And
it's a really difficult one because I've seen so obviously having my little one and my sister, and they've had kids and they've gone through different journeys of doing that from kind of really kind of like slotting straight back into work and being ready to go back into work again to kind of really not knowing where work fits in their life again or what they want to do or where they are.
Yeah.
So I think it's really work. I never really understood. To your point, I really like that. I think balance is really important, right?
Yeah.
You can't, unless you've already got lots of money and your life is already set out, you can't be there all the time and have the future, right? But you've got to find that balance. And it is really important that I struggled with it because it's a case of, I feel like I'm missing out, but I'm missing. But if I was stressed that I wasn't working. And then when I was working, I was stressed that I wasn't with him. But then it's finding the balance of, I need to be the best version of me when I'm with him. And the best version of me is when I've got my work done, I'm not overthinking something, and I know that I've put what I need to one side. Not that he's not the priority, because he absolutely is.
Yeah.
But I have to, my work, everything that I need to do is out of my mind so that when I'm with him, he's got all of my attention or for as much as I possibly can, 90% of the attention. I might have to check an email or whatever, but generally it's just finding the balance. But I also need to know that I'm building a future so that, I mean, he's at nursery and stuff like that. But when he's got a football match when he's 8, I'm there.
Yeah.
When he wants to go on a school trip, he's going on a school trip. But I can't do that if I'm not working and trying to do that. So that it's fine finding that balance is really difficult. And then trying to find where you sit in life with work when you're also a parent. I never thought it was a thing. I just thought life carried on.
Yeah, it doesn't, does it? The world isn't built for working parents, I don't think, and that's really hard. But not that I have all the answers, because I really don't. But for me, growing up, I had the biggest thing I remember from my childhood. Like, we had a very privileged childhood. It was fantastic in that respect. You know, my dad worked really, really hard, and my mum was a stay-at-home mum, so she was always there. We had like all the dinners cooked on the table constantly. You know, it was very sort of picturesque childhood. For me, one of the things growing up was I didn't realise it now, but I think I always struggled with my mental health quite badly, and I went through a really bad period at school where I was horrifically bullied, and that obviously contributed to a lot of stuff. And I remember there's one thing I always kept thinking was, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I want to be happy. That's all I ever used to think to myself. And when I'm older, I'll be happy. And And if you've got kids, have you seen Frozen? You know that Olaf when he sings that song, it's like, everything will make sense when I'm older. That always makes me laugh because I think that's how I used to think was,
when I grow up, it's going to be this.
Yeah, when I grow up, I'll understand that and I'll be happy. And so now I think my measure of am I being a good mum is my child happy? And I think anybody who's met Nyla, she is just this little ball of energy. She's just always... she's just always happy. Obviously, she's a toddler, so sometimes she'll have those tantrums. And that's, I think, what makes it easier for me, because I look at her and I go, she's happy. Whether we are there all the time or not, she is happy. She's a happy little thing. She's a happy little soul. Yeah. That's all that really matters.
That is all that matters. Because I think being a parent makes you reflect on your childhood.
Big time.
A lot. Way more than I thought. And you kind of... I replay loads of stuff when I was younger. My childhood was a bit weird because my mum and dad split up when I was young. And then my dad moved away when I was 13. So he moved to Hong Kong. And then my summer holidays from 13 onwards were like Hong Kong, Thailand, Philippines, China, all this crazy stuff for like 6 weeks. I'd go from like break up school on the Friday, whatever. Monday I was on a plane to Hong Kong. And then say we go back on a Monday, I was back on the Friday. And then, but it was also weird because at that time, 20 years ago, people weren't going to Hong Kong and China on their school holidays. So no one believed me. So then anyway, but so the aspect of like trying to understand why my dad left when I was younger was a really alien. Well, why would you leave your kid? But then also I know that he wanted to provide and give me a life, an amazing life of experiences and everything that I did, I wouldn't have been able to do.
Does that play a big part, do you think, in how you show up as a parent now to your son?
Yeah, and trying to find the balance between giving him everything that I want to give him, but also being there every day. But then it's just reflecting and analysing and challenging your thoughts of now and then, and it's a lot. And then that feeds into work a lot because I think that kind of so much of life is blended into just one. Yeah. Especially like you spend so much, even a normal 9 to 5, that's 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's a lot of your life, right? What's that, 40-hour week for an average person?
It's like a third of your life, isn't it?
Yeah. Between that and sleeping, that's a lot gone. So I think that people trying to have work-life balance and keeping it really separate is nearly impossible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think that the conversations, when I started the podcast, it was business, but it's actually just people trying to work out how to do it all, how to get it right, how everyone fails, how everyone struggles, how everyone's humans. And I think that that's what I've learned a lot in the last sort of 6 months doing this, that all it is, doesn't matter whether you're, not that I've had the conversation with them, but like CEOs of billion-pound companies, you're just somebody trying to do it all right.
Yeah. I've always felt really like an outsider. Sometimes I've wondered if I'm a little bit autistic because I don't seem to see the way I don't see the world the way other people see the world.
In what way?
I've always felt like that, very much like, well, I'm just a human and so are you. I don't understand the dynamic of, especially in the workplace when it's like you've got that work persona. I've always struggled with that dynamic. Even at school, I really struggled with the teacher-student dynamic of being someone telling me what to do. Because in my head, I'm like, but I'm the same person as you. You know, as a teacher, if you're standing there saying to me, you can't wear a necklace whilst wearing a necklace, it wouldn't compute. And I've heard you say before as well is, you know, I do things in a certain way, and when people don't do them the way that I do them, I can't register. I don't understand. I'm like, but I don't understand why you've not done that, and it stresses me out as if I'm the person that's in the wrong. Like, well, obviously, am I doing something? You know, like you go down that spiral, don't you? And that's all of my family have always been successful, both sides, mums and dad's sides, and they've all owned businesses. And you know, like my uncle is sort of the director, CEO of one of the biggest media companies, and but he's my uncle, and he's just a really lovely guy who loves the football, and he's just a person. Like, but obviously people at work would know him a little bit differently, but everybody in the world is like that. They're just a person. So when you look at people on social media doing things and other people are criticizing them, and I think I don't know, I don't get it. I'm like, but they're just a person. They're just a human with feelings. And
would you, the social media thing, would you say that if they were stood in front of you? Probably not.
No, you wouldn't.
I find this in football all the time. People are like, someone misses a penalty or whatever, and they're doing all this stuff. But if he was in front of you, you'd probably ask for a signature.
Of course you would. Yeah. Me and my partner always laugh. There was a box. I can't remember who it was. He'll probably be really mad at me because I'll mess this up. But it was some really famous boxer, and someone wrote on his social media post like, "Oh, you're this and swear word." And he wrote back and said, "Oh, come and say that to my face. Like, I bet you're just saying it because you're behind a keyboard." And he went back. He went, "Well, yeah, of course I am. Like, I can't fight you. Like, you just knocked me out." And that's it. That's it. What it is in real life, isn't it? It's a very strange. I don't know. I just always thought it was a really strange concept.
I know what you mean about teachers. I wasn't great at school. I struggled at school. The only teachers that I used to get on with were sort of the PE teachers, which is, I think, everyone. If you're into any sort of sport, you get on with the PE teachers. But I feel that was because they just speak to you like people. I feel like they're in the same bubble as just. I don't have a problem with authority at all, but I don't like being. I'm always a why person.
Yeah.
I can't understand something. If you said that tree's green, I'm not just going to believe you that tree's green. I need to know why that tree's green. And people struggle with me a lot of the time with that because I'm not being awkward.
No.
I just need to understand. Once I understand, we're good.
Yes, exactly.
And that's not a fact of something. That could be you say something. I need to understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Because if I don't understand, I'm not going to remember it. I'm not going to process it. And you might as well not have said it. And people struggle with me with that because I'm just like, well, but why?
Yeah.
Or once I've got something that I do that works and is kind of, and someone says me to change, I'm like, well, why would I do that if because it suits you? I'm not going to do that. No. So I think everyone's kind of got their things.
Yeah.
And I think as I've grown up, I've realised that I used to think that I was really weird when I was younger because how I thought, same as what you were sort of saying, how I thought, but I think everyone's got their stuff.
Yeah.
And I think once you process that about yourself and you realise that everyone else has got their stuff, you can kind of give people a little bit more patience as well.
Yes, yeah. And sometimes I feel like it makes me come across arrogant, but it's not arrogance. It's just me being like, well, you feel like that because you've got stuff going on in your life. So it's not a me problem, it's a you problem. Yeah. So I'm not, rising to it almost. I'm not going to...
You've got to be true to you and do what makes sense for you.
Yeah. And when we get lots of comments and sometimes there's a lot of negativity in it, but I think I understand that it's never about me. It's always about that person.
Yeah, in that moment, yeah.
When I come across as dismissive or it's not. It's just me understanding that you're saying that because you're hurting, not because I am. So I don't need to react to that. That's just, and I've always been that way, and it's not boded well for me in every situation. But yeah.
So I'm interested about. So I'm very much of a view, and I think you're the same. And I want to get your opinion on it of social media. Social media is basically my job.
Yes.
It's basically how I pay bills a lot of the time, but I don't like it.
I hate it.
And I feel like you're in a very similar place.
Yes. I struggle with social media because, like you say, that's how I promote myself, it's how I market myself. And I wouldn't say that I'm not being authentic because I am, because obviously I can't just make stuff up in my life. One, I don't have time to do that. And two, you have to just post what you're doing when you're doing it. But there is definitely times where I will show up maybe just a little bit differently because I might not be feeling that way. But, like you said, it's a marketing tool. But I will not sit and scroll anymore because it's just, I mean, one, I don't have time. But two, it's just awful.
Yeah. I've kind of found a bit of a balance recently. I'm very open about that I don't like social media. I've got Instagram, but it's a work Instagram, sort of similar to yourself. But I've seemed to have found a little bit of a sweet spot at the moment where I go on social media because I learn a lot more from it now. It used to be like if I got my like Instagram like reels open now, it would be camera angles or really cool shoots or like marketing tools or like a random dog video. Like I don't see or follow or do anything that isn't really kind of fits in my space of what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of working my way around what works for me.
Yes.
But I also think that it's such a space of bullshit that.
Yeah.
So yours is a really interesting one because the space that you work in, it's probably the worst for fake.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realise that really until I got into it as much as I did. Because like I said, I was always the back end of it. And then after I had my baby, I put on about 20 kilos. Long story short, put on a lot of weight, was really, really unhealthy, in a really unhealthy space. Woke up one morning and just decided I didn't want to be that way anymore, that's how my brain works. And decided that was it. I was on a health journey. I was going to be the fittest I've ever been in my life. I achieved it. We did a photo shoot, me and my partner. And off the back of that, we sort of decided to bring me on board. A few other life situations were happening as well, so it sort of made sense. So I came on board as a coach and it just went like, boom, it just exploded. I think I got about 12 clients in my first week, which was just insane. And I didn't know how to handle it at first. I was like, oh my God, I felt like such an imposter. But obviously then you have to throw yourself into that fitness world. And I'd always sort of experienced it as just me as a mum versus now I'm in it as somebody who works in that industry. And do you know what? It's actually a really horrible industry to be in because people are always criticising one another. Everybody's got the best opinion. And I just think, why? Just everybody just lift each other. We're all after the same thing, and that's to make people feel better, look better, and be healthier.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of jealousy, isn't there?
Yeah, very much, very much. So I couldn't fix my algorithm in my work account because obviously I follow clients and other bits and bobs. So the algorithm is just a bit weird and all over the place. And obviously the content that I post gets influenced as well. So I actually have a completely separate Instagram account that I don't follow anybody but like anybody I know. I just follow accounts of business women and when I go on Instagram, I post and then I flick to my other Instagram account and that's where I scroll if I'm scrolling. So I can have that positivity place rather than that negative fitness.
I like your kind of, I think people, the reason, this is just my take on it, that you got those clients is because it's so real, it's so honest, authentic and genuine.
Yes.
And I think people just, in that space more than anything, people want to see someone that they can relate to, want to see someone that, a mother that, even someone like yourself now that's fit, healthy, and that's your drive, went for a phase where they weren't doing that.
Yeah.
And that means that, if I can do that, if she can do that, I felt that like that in that down place, so I can get out of it too.
And I've been in that place multiple times. My fitness journey is not linear. Like I've trained as long as I can remember. My dad actually was a bodybuilder, so that's how I kind of got into it. But I've been up, down, and sometimes I say about post-pregnancy when I put on a lot of weight. If you look at me at the beginning of COVID, I was huge and I would eat 3 or 4 takeaways a week. I would go through copious amounts of wine. I was really big and really, really unhealthy.
And how did that affect your mental health at that point?
Awful, absolutely awful. And I've been in a situation before where I've always struggled with my mental health anyway, but I do a lot to help fix it. But I remember one day, it was COVID, I lived on my own, and obviously it was all locked down. And I was so lonely and I was so depressed. I was like, I'm just going to drink as much as I can till I pass out. Yeah. And I did. And just awful, just my relationship with it.
COVID made it okay to start drinking at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? I remember that. I remember coming downstairs and being like, oh, well,
might as well just drink.
Yeah, I've nothing else to do.
Nowhere else to be.
No.
Nothing else to do. Even when, like when I wasn't working, it was might as well just have a drink.
There would be days where I wouldn't speak to another human being, like, because, you know, people just getting, and I think because I lived on my own, I was just, it was just crazy. But that's why I'm such a firm believer now. The difference for me now is that when I was, because I had a C-section and I had a lot of complications afterwards, it drove me to be in bed and do nothing, as little as possible, which is not good for a person like me. My brain is like always on. So that's where I did a lot of research, and I started to really get into the health and fitness, like understanding the science behind it. And now I don't think I'll ever really go back into that space, because now I understand the science a lot more. But before, it was always about aesthetics. I just wanted to look a certain way. And that was when I was very up and down with it, because you almost kind of get to a point where you think, oh, I'm okay, now I'm happy. And then you slowly creep back into those old habits.
It's kind of like this old school view of, oh, I've got a holiday coming up, or I've got a wedding coming up, or something. So I'll lose weight for that. And then I'll go big on that holiday.
Yeah.
And then I won't go back to the gym for a while. Then I've got another holiday. So I'll eat really clean and this, that, and the other. And that's kind of, it's not good, really. It's no sustain. And the diets are never sustainable. No. It's just cut everything good out.
Yep.
And then
this is the thing I've struggled with the most. If I'm really honest, it gets me down sometimes, to the point where I think, oh, I'm not doing this anymore, because I get so frustrated. The way that society positions health and fitness is so much based on the aesthetics that it's almost sad to trying to convince people otherwise is really hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And definitely there's an aspect of, you know, I work with a lot of older women as well who have had 60 years of, you know, be as skinny as you can be Kate Moss, be on cocaine, eat an apple a day, you know, that kind of carbs, the absolute enemy.
Yeah.
And trying to unpick all of that.
Years of just education around. Yeah. And everything is, I feel like now we're at a place where the science really, it wasn't science led, was it?
No.
It was just, like you say, the aesthetics of being stick thin and that's that. There was no science, it was never really healthy.
No. And I think it's definitely moving that way, which is great. Yeah. I love the fact that it's moving that way. But me being me and me being the most impatient person on the planet, I just wish it would happen faster. Yeah. That frustration comes from that, definitely, of, you know, and especially because it's in my head, I understand that it's not, like I say, about delayed gratification. It's not about the way that you look. It's about the way that you feel and the way that you can then be 80 years old and running around. And, you know, and I'm trying to say to people, this is the goal.
It's still doable. If you do it right, it's doable.
Well, of course it is, from any age. At any age you can start to change your life. And actually, it's not that hard. It's the hardest thing is the consistency. You have to keep showing up with those little micro habits every single day for what people feel like is a lifetime. But it's not. After, I'm going to say, a year, if you compound all those micro habits, you'll wake up and you'll go, oh, bloody hell, actually, I feel great. I actually really love the way that I look. My skin, my hair, my nails, everything comes off the back of all of those things. Not just going, oh, look at me, I look really skinny today.
Yeah.
And my trousers fit okay. You know, it's so much more than that.
It's much bigger picture. And I think that side of the science behind your physical health, and I think mental health, I think coming out of COVID, I think there's quite a few things that as I reflect on COVID that happened. There was, I think a lot of people went through dark phases of lockdown.
Absolutely.
But I think that a lot of people also have just blocked it out of their brain. Like it didn't happen.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like that sometimes when somebody says, oh, in 2019, you think, oh, that's like a couple of years ago. Like, no, it's not.
We lost 2 years of our life.
Yeah.
We just lost it.
Yeah. Just gone.
I went loopy in lockdown. Like actually lost my mind.
It was hard, wasn't it? It was a really hard
I had a
time.
real mental health kind of episode, and I really struggled and went through lots of therapy, and it's the first time in my life that I'd stopped and thought and couldn't go anywhere and do anything. And like you say, my head's always going.
Yeah.
Whether that be rarely good. It's often bad. But then also a lot of ideas come out of lockdown, a lot of positivity. But what's your I think mental health is a thing that ties closely with work. Yeah. I think that what I'd like to do, as you know, we do our founders, we're starting our founders group. We want to start tying that with some sort of mental health aspect, because I think that it doesn't matter whether you run your business, your own business, work for someone, mental health is and your work are really tied in, because it's very rare. It's great that you love your job, right? But I think it's rare.
Yes.
It's rare that people are in projects that they really enjoy and really gets them excited.
I'm very fortunate to be in that position.
And I think that and when you're running a business, the stress levels and and especially being a parent as well, and that's not just of toddlers, at any age. It's not sleeping, stressing, paying bills. Well, it's really tough for your mental health. I'm still working that out. I go through ups and downs, and I'm still trying to work out how to keep my mental health in a really sort of steady place. I'm interested to know how you kind of are balancing that, if you're sort of open to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. This sort of ties in with what I'm going to say, but I've always tried to be an open book. Sometimes I might be a bit TMI, but I prefer to be that way, because if there is somebody out there that listens to me talk and they think that's how I feel, and then they just know they're not alone, and that is the best feeling, is to feel like you're not alone in what you're struggling with. So if I can be a person that feels comfortable enough to talk about it,
I think there needs to be more of that, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Because as much as I don't want to interrupt. As much as we feel everyone's individual, right, and everyone is different, but we're all the same.
Yes.
Like, in so many ways, we are all the same, and it's so nice sometimes to not feel like you're the only person that feels that. Like I said to you before, when I was at school, I thought I was never going to do this because my brain's like a certain way, but a lot of the ways my brain is are really good assets to me now.
Exactly.
So sorry, you carry on. I just wanted to. Everyone is in this same bubble of life and being human.
Exactly. We are all just human. We're just all human beings.
Being open and honest and sharing about where you are, that might be 95% of people won't feel like that. But if a few people do, then that's I think people need to be a little more open.
People feel like that than they let on as well. And even when I talk about mine and Stephen's relationship struggles, do you know how many people have turned around to me and gone, me too? And it's almost, you see that look on their face where they think, oh, I've had that too. I didn't know that was a thing. And I'm like, trust me, every couple I talk to that's had a child, if you talk to a couple and they tell you that everything's hunky-dory, especially after they've had a child, they're lying, because it's just not.
And I think going back to, we're going to come back to your answer to the other question in a second, but you were saying about like the 6-year-old women that have this idea of just being skinny. I think there's also a generation, maybe parents and grandparents generation, where divorce wasn't a thing.
Yes.
And you just stick with your partner through sickness and health, and you keep going and you keep going. And I think we're coming to a generation now of some people are meant to be together and some people aren't. And I think that there's this energy of, we stiff up a lip. We're going to say our relationship's good. We're going to keep going, and everything's fine. We can't show any weakness. We can't show that we can't talk about stuff. And I think there is a shift in that.
Yeah.
But I think talking and being open and sharing stuff is, you might, like you say, the person you're talking to might also have gone through a similar thing.
Exactly.
And you can support each other or help each other, whatever it may be.
And even in that relationship as well, like Stephen isn't much of a talker. He never has been. And I almost force him to. But the way I say it to him is, I know it feels like I'm always talking to you about our relationship, but if I didn't care, I wouldn't talk. I would just go off and just be like, bye. And, we had a conversation the other day where we sort of sit down and we actually try not to face each other, because it's scientifically, psychologically, it's better to talk when you're not facing each other, which is why the best conversations happen when you're in the car. But I talk to him and he goes, I always feel so much better. And I'm like, yeah, because we've got all that stuff out that niggles at you, and you just have to have that conversation. And granted, I mean, I haven't always been like this, because, like we went through our thing last year, and that was mostly me just shutting down. But I don't think I realised how much my depression after sort of having a baby and the view of myself. And I got made redundant from my job, and I used to hold a lot of my own self-worth in my position in my career. So that I just spiraled, I think, and some other things had happened at that point, and I just spiraled and I shut down completely. And that was where our relationship broke down. So I just always talking. And like circling back to what you were saying about, dealing with mental health, I think just talk. I know that sounds really cliche, but just start talking and the right people will hear you, and you'll start to feel better because you're not alone. And, there's so many therapists out there, and just from that aspect, from a psychological aspect, but from a health and fitness aspect, the most underrated drug is exercise and nutrition.
I know that I feel better when I exercise. When I go to the gym, it feeds into, I go to the gym and then I eat better because I'm thinking, if I'm going to the gym, I need to eat better. And then I feel better and then I sleep better. And sleep is a big one as well. I think that's difficult when you've got a little one. But as they get older and their routine gets a bit easier, sleep is huge. And I really struggled with sleep because my brain was on. But I also thought it was ridiculous when I read about this, but it makes complete sense. Having a sleep routine, when you have it with a kid, it works, right? When you have a toddler, I have it as an adult.
Yeah.
You're training your brain to say, right now it's time for bed. Because I studied this thing where it's about transitions in your brain, where your brain can't just go from TV on light bright to sleep.
No, of course it can't.
Which really, as humans, we struggle with the transition of things. Same as kids, they go from watching TV, now go to bed. They probably don't want to, but it's because they struggle with that transition of big bright lights in the front room of a family to dark room bed.
Yeah, because you're not producing the hormones that you're supposed to do to be able to drop off to sleep. There's so many, I could talk all day about this. I won't go too much into a rabbit hole, but there's so many other sort of scientific areas. Even your body temperature has to drop before you go to sleep. So there's a whole sleep hygiene, is actually really important. If I was going to put it up there with pillars of, if you're trying to improve your mental health, if you're trying to get fitter, if you're trying to look better, then prioritize your sleep in all three aspects, because get your hygiene under control, sleep hygiene, making the room. What do you mean by that? So just certain things like, top ones. So your circadian rhythm. So the way that your body runs throughout a day. So how your body knows. Do you ever find that you eat at certain times of the day, and then if you're working, say, and it gets to that time, your body starts to, your tummy rumbles, and you think, oh, I'm hungry. And then you look at the time, and you go, oh, it's because it's lunchtime.
Yeah.
That's part of your circadian rhythm. So your body knows, it has this process throughout the day. Same way that you start to wake up every time, the same time, even when your alarm's about to go off. It's the same thing. So setting that up, so having bright lights in the morning, getting outside, seeing the morning sunlight, all those sort of things have a impact on your biology, which will help set your circadian rhythm. Eating at the same times of the day, not eating a couple of hours before you go to bed, because your body is digesting. When you go to sleep, your body shuts down, right? If you're still digesting your food, your body can't completely shut down. So you're not going to be able to drop into that deep wave of sleep. You need to have the deep sleep at the beginning of the night, then you have that REM and you have your light sleep. All are just as important as each other, but you need to have all of those stages of your sleep. Sleep quality is just as important as sleep quantity. Having the room really, really dark will help you sleep better. There's actually studies they've done. People have different thickness of eyelids. So actually as well, it depending on your eye colour will depend on how thick your eyelids are. Yeah, and even your sight as you go through. So having a room pitch black for a baby is really beneficial for them to help their sight and their vision improve, so that it helps when they're older, whether they need glasses or not. So like if you have lights and TVs in your room, all that sort of thing. I mean, I sleep with an eye mask on now for two reasons. One, because of wrinkles, and two, because of like the light. I just can't sleep. White noise at low levels, although there is recent emerging studies to say that it's not as beneficial for children as it is for adults. But we sleep with white noise on, in me and Stephen.
It's bizarre how white noise blocks everything else out.
It's because your brain focuses on one sound wavelength, so it helps almost like a point, a pinnacle for your brain to focus on that and help block everything else out. Helps you keep...
It's really good. It's like a fan on, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
it's really relaxing. On it. Yeah. Keeping your room cool as well, obviously, to help with the room temperature that drops. I mean, you get sleep mattresses now that change the temperature.
Yeah, I got into a little bit of a rabbit hole with that, and then looked at the price, and I was like, maybe not.
Okay, 5 years.
Yeah.
So that just there's a lot of things you can do to help with your sleep hygiene. Like obviously you got fresh bedding and
there's no better feeling.
That shower.
Yeah, shower,
shave,
fresh sheets.
Oh. Yes, cream up.
Every Sunday, it's like the best sleep is because I've had my everything shower, like shave. I've everything that I need to be clean and organised for the week. Clean the house, clean everything, and then get into a fresh sheets on a Sunday.
That
honestly,
feeling,
there's no better feeling.
No, it's all part of it though. It's all part of your mental health as well. It's just ticking those boxes. So sleep hygiene is definitely a really, really important one. I would definitely say that. But even to us talking about ticking boxes, sorry, I honestly could go down a rabbit hole. There's so much.
That's fine.
Creating a to-do list and ticking stuff off is really psychologically beneficial for you as well. Just seeing that little tick in that box. It's why. Have you ever written a to-do list and written stuff down that you've already done?
Yeah.
Just so you can tick it off. Just so that's psychological. Like, yes, I've done that.
It's fascinating how, just sort of what I was saying before, how everyone's brain is the same. Well, it's not the same. Like there's aspects that everybody does.
Yes.
That everyone takes satisfaction from, or like I can't remember what I was looking at the other day. It was a video on Instagram about someone eating a toastie because they've just found a toastie maker in the back of the cupboard.
And then you have like a toastie every day that
for
week,
like a week, and then it goes back. You don't have it for a year.
Yeah.
But it's just bizarre that we're all so unique and different and stuff, but everyone can relate to that thing.
Yeah.
And it's just fascinating that we're all living our life, but we've all done that.
Yes.
So I think
it comes back to that everybody's human.
Everyone's human. Yeah. Everyone wants to... I kind of, when I'm really stressed out and I'm overthinking and I'm kind of really in my own head, I kind of break it down to like what... fundamental as a human, we weren't designed to live in this life.
No.
In terms of screens and stress and cars and traffic and pollution. That's not what we're designed for.
No.
I know we're intelligent and as humans and that we evolve and all this sort of stuff, but this wasn't meant to be like this.
No.
So I think sometimes the best thing to do is just go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like just get it with as if you're a caveman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's probably... I don't know what level we were meant to peak at, but it probably was. We've gone a bit too far.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's also that reverse side of it as well, in that humans are designed to fix problems. We're designed to notice patterns. It's just what our brains are designed to do. So there's a book called The Comfort Crisis. I think it's Michael Easter, and it's a fantastic book, and he does some podcasts and they're fantastic to listen to. But we also live in a world now where there is a lot of comfort, a lot of ease is probably the better word to use. So, if you are hungry, you just go on your phone, I'm going to order a sausage sandwich, it'll be here in 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Or half an hour in my case.
It comes soggy. But effectively, that's a comfort because you're hungry, but all you had to do was go on your phone and press a button.
Everything's so easy.
Yeah, so accessible. So our brains, this is what the comfort crisis talks about, is that we almost invent problems because we don't really have any anymore, which makes everybody feel so much more stressed because we're constantly looking for stuff.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
That, and he talks about his example that he had to go and do some research in the middle of one of the poles, and he's got nothing, like no hot food, no running water. He lived there for a month. He would take a bucket out in the snow with a shotgun to fight off any polar bears. And he talks about he did that when he came back. Being on a plane and eating plain food was the nicest food he'd ever eaten in his life. And, running water to wash his hands and making you appreciate that actually all this stuff that we take for granted. So just take a walk in nature and just have a minute to go, hang on, it's okay. Yeah. I will figure this out. I just need a bit of time to sit
And also, is the thing that I'm stressing about really worth it?
Yeah.
What that person thought about me, or why that person didn't do that, or why this hasn't worked out. Does it matter?
No.
Fundamentally, does it matter? And I think that's sometimes a balance. That as you're saying that, it kind of makes so much sense. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was saying about exactly that. Most people, most of the population of the world, get up from a nice bed, have a hot shower, and have a hot meal. That's not, like you say, that's such a luxury. All these things that we have are luxuries. You get into a nice comfy car with your heated seat on and whatever. It's all luxury. And then when you're stressing, and I'm not saying that mental health is a really, really big, important thing to talk about.
It is, 100%.
But it's also sometimes a lot of it, especially for me, it doesn't matter. I'm worrying about stuff and stressing about stuff and beating myself up about stuff that doesn't matter.
Yes.
And that probably, to your point, what you said, is because I've got nothing, well, as a human, I've got nothing to fix, got nothing to do, got nothing, I don't have to hunt for my dinner.
Yeah.
I don't have to look for berries or something. I've just got to worry about, I don't know, coming to work the next morning in a warm office.
And there's definitely a lot of real problems. Like, I don't want to take away from the fact that people are dealing with a lot of stuff, but I heard something recently about people seem to think that gratitude is complacency, and it's not. You can be so unbelievably grateful for what you have in your life and still be passionate and motivated and driven to achieve the next thing. And sometimes you do need to just take a step back. Like, have you seen those quotes that say about you were so driven, so excited, and you wanted it so badly to get to a one place in your life? That's the place you're in right now, and you're not enjoying it because you want the next thing. So sometimes just taking that step to actually, do you know what, this is...
when you go into the example when I grow up, when you were a kid, think when I grow up, if you could pick yourself up from when you were 5 and put yourself where you are now, that I bet the 5-year-old version, you'd be really proud of where you are.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult, isn't it, to reflect on that. And I found that I also beat myself up about a lot of stuff. When Austin was born, I was so, like I said earlier, so like the next day, that I've wanted to be a dad since I was probably about 10. Like that's just been, like, all my family knew that it was just, I just wanted to be a dad. And then I was, and then don't get me wrong, I absolutely adored him, but I was so in survival mode that I don't think that I absorbed those moments as much as I should have done.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a, always looking for the future, always looking at what's next, always looking at, I'll be happy when, I'll be satisfied when, I'll be successful when. It's great to be, like, to have those like aspirations of what you want to achieve and be passionate and driven and motivated. But reflecting on where you are and what you've got and how hard it was to get to where you are.
And you did it.
Yeah.
You did it anyway. You've done it. You've achieved it. You've got that thing that you really wanted to do. Just remembering that sometimes and think, actually, I am here. I have done this. And not being so hard on yourself, which it's definitely easier said than done. But that's one of the biggest things I've worked on, especially, like you say. And becoming a parent made me realise big time. I always used to see the world very black and white. You know, it's this or it's this. That's it. Realising that two things can coexist at the same time. And like a big one, controversial one, but I love my daughter more than anything in the world, and I would never, ever, ever change it. She is my everything. Don't always love being a mum. Don't.
Yeah.
And those two things can exist at the exact same
100%.
time. It doesn't always need to be one thing or another. I can be so happy and grateful for where I'm at right now in my life, but also want more. Like,
for sure.
You can have both. It can be both. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. So
I do know what you mean. It's Austin is the best thing that ever happened to me. He's just an incredible, like, thing that just is everything that, like, my world centers around. Yeah. But sometimes I want to just be able to carry on working, or I want to be able to not pick him up for another 2 hours because I could do with doing that. Yeah. That doesn't mean I'm not so excited to see him.
No.
It'd be like, I've really got to leave and pick him up now.
Yeah.
And it's, I could really do.
And
that's okay. And I think that I used to beat myself up for the first, like, couple of months when I felt like that. But actually, that it's all right. Like, I'm still my own person. And I think people do get lost in parenthood.
Yeah, you do.
Quite easily.
The guilt overcomes everything. And like you were saying about wanting something, like we had some struggles trying to conceive Nyla in the first place. And I remember, I think anybody who's ever had problems trying to conceive will know this feeling, is I used to see other people getting pregnant and, don't get me wrong, be so happy for them. But there was always that bit inside me that, like, not resentment towards them, but that anger of, why isn't this happening for me?
Yeah.
And you do end up getting quite bitter, because you just do, because you just want it so, so badly, and it's something you can't control. And especially as me as a person, I like to control everything. But
at least you know that.
Yeah. I will admit that to the end of the days. But I cannot control that. That's one thing I can't control, especially when you look after your health and fitness the way I do. I really struggle with that. You can't control that aspect. But when I then became a mum, and there was times when I just needed to be away from her for my own mental sanity, then I would feel so unbelievably guilty for thinking, oh, this is all I ever wanted at one point, and now I have it, and now I'm trying to get away from it. Like, and you're spiraling, and you're like, what am I supposed to think, and what am I supposed to do? And there isn't actually a right answer. No. You're just supposed to feel and think how you are. Like, you're just a human being who's having these emotions.
You're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to have emotions. They're allowed to contradict within the same hour.
Yeah, same minute.
Yeah.
Same second. You're allowed to think one thing, and you just. I think that aspect of, being right and being wrong. It's just.
It's also a difficult one as well, because I feel like people need to be better at giving themselves a little bit more grace and a little bit more patience.
But and then, other people.
Yeah, but then you also have to find that balance of also challenging yourself a little bit as well. You have to not be like, well, it's okay. Like, for the whole kind of health thing, oh, I've had a long day, I can have a beer. Oh, I might as well have another one. There is that, you're allowed to go out and have a Friday beers, but then it's managing that sort of, because for me, it's one or the other. So for me, it's Friday, I'll have a few beers, and then it's Saturday, I'll have a few beers, and then there's no point going to the gym because I've had a few beers tonight, so I can't get up and go. So it's finding the balance of giving myself too much grace or giving myself nothing. So I sometimes struggle with the balance of managing it at the same time.
The biggest takeaway that we both have from coaching, we've worked with over sort of 100 people now, and the question is, what do you want? Because if you want to, what do you want more, I think is the right answer. Because if you want to have a six-pack and you want to have this body that's, unbelievably fine-tuned, and then actually you can't have those beers on a Friday, because that's not what's going to achieve that goal. It's delayed gratification at the end of the day. And so many people think that they want something, but they don't, because they're not willing to give up certain things to be able to get to that place. And I know that's controversial, because some people, yes, I do want it. You don't know what I want. And I go, well, you don't
want it enough.
No, you don't want it enough. And that is fine. Like, you don't have to justify that decision.
And also,
to me.
a six-pack doesn't also mean that you're not healthy as well. So it's just
yeah.
finding out what you want the most.
Yeah, exactly. And positioning yourself to be that person, you know? And the highest athletes, the most fine-tuned people in the world don't have any alcohol. They don't mess with their sleep. They don't eat bad food. If you don't want to be a fine-tuned person, then you can have a bit more leeway. Yeah. And it's finding the balance for you that works for you. Yeah. It's the same way people say to me all the time, what's the best diet to be on? And I'm like, well, what are you going to stick to? Because if I put you on a keto and you really love crisps, you're not sticking to that keto diet, and it's not going to work for you. So it's what fits into your life and how that you can be
sustainable and works long term, because there's no point just doing it for a short amount of time,
and gets to where you want to be, where you wake up in the morning and go, I have a really good balance here. Sometimes it'll be like this, and sometimes it'll be like this. Sometimes you'll have a few days where you do go on the piss or whatever you might want to do, and some days you'll be locked in and every meal's prepped and bedtime and this, and it's just finding that balance of where you want to sit and what works for you and your lifestyle.
So how has it been? So you've openly sort of said that you've had difficulties yourself and your partner previously. What's it been like working together now?
I don't get me wrong, there's always difficulties in it. I've probably been quite lucky where Stephen is very laid back, and he, I think, understands where his good parts are and where his bad parts are. And he never, ever tries to take over the areas that I'm good at, because he just knows that I can do it better than him.
Yeah.
That can feel really frustrating for me sometimes, because sometimes he'll be like, you do it. And I'm like, please, I can't, I've got too much to do.
Yeah.
But we work quite well in that respect of I do the business stuff and he does the client facing and yeah. But, you know, I suppose it's a baby, isn't it? It's almost like having a child, having a business. That's how I like to explain it to people my friends who don't have children and have businesses. It's how I explain it to them.
Yeah.
And I say, you know how you love your business and being an entrepreneur. If you were going to explain that to somebody, it would sound horrific, wouldn't it? You know, there's no time off. You're always stressed. You're always worried. You're always wondering when the next thing's coming. Like, why are you doing that? Yeah. It's like that when you have a child. Like you talk about you don't sleep, it's stressful, but you wouldn't change it for the world. You love it, right? So it's the same sort of principle. So yeah, I suppose it's like another child for us. It's just that baby of it works. It's hard. Like any couple, we argue about things, and sometimes I get the ump with him. But
Are you able to sort of switch it off? Are you able to? Is it kind of? Is there a time or a moment where you say, right, now we stop talking about work and we talk about us, or is it kind of pretty fluid throughout?
It's very fluid. We're trying to find a balance, and we're still nowhere near that at all, because even like when we would speak to our therapist, she'd be like, okay, so, you know, work, business, baby, where are you two?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, yeah, where are we? But then it's also that, but we both enjoy working. So because we both enjoy working, we're both quite happy to sit in the evenings, and we don't watch TV. Well, I say we don't watch TV. We'll have TV on in the background as background noise, but we both sit on our laptops and just work. And that's just the dynamic that just seems to work for us. And then we do have to try and be a bit more intimate, because we don't do that necessarily, because we don't sit on the sofa and cuddle. But that's not really me as a person anyway. But yeah, so it's just trying to
fit it all in, isn't it? It's so difficult to have something that is like a baby, so important, and you're so passionate about it and you believe in it. It's so hard to turn that part of your brain off.
Yeah.
And then add a child on top of that. It is really difficult to find space for anything else. And then it's also then, if you have to put it into sections, it's like work, then child, then partner, then you've got family, then you've got friends, and then all of these things. It's quite easy to become overwhelmed to not do it, to not be able to do it all.
Yeah. And a house and cleaning and cooking and washing and
everything else. Yeah. Like it's really tough.
Is there ever really a balance though?
I think no. There's always something that takes
priority.
A chunk of your time.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's accepting that.
Yeah.
Knowing that's the case.
Yeah.
I think, what was it like when, because I think the hardest part of starting your business and being kind of a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever kind of terminology you want to use around it. Because I think entrepreneur is such a weird word.
Yeah, I don't really know what it means.
Because I feel like it's always I've got 10 businesses, but then I think you're entrepreneurial if you're thinking differently in terms of ideas and making these things happen. But the hard thing for a lot of people is starting, and I think that there's so much fake stuff around what it's like to be a business owner. And I think that the conversations that we have on the podcast, and this conversation, just as you left a second ago, we're just sort of saying this is probably the most real conversation that's just not really about work. It's about work, but not like about work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think these conversations are so important because the business is seen as the business like I was saying earlier, there's people behind it.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to talk to people that are, like everyone we've had on has been really open and honest about how difficult it is, or the struggles that they've had, or the mistakes that they've made. And I think that makes it so much more relatable and achievable that, I mean, everyone, no disrespect to anyone we've been on, but no one's millionaires. No one's like absolutely nailed it and made it and they're set. They're still going through it. Do you know what I mean? They're still pushing on and trying to achieve and trying to find balance and making mistakes and trying to learn. And
on that comment and like what you just said about people in business and if people just starting out, one thing that came to realize very quickly was, and luckily we worked in a business mentorship and we got to speak to some people who were a lot further down the line than we were, was realising we need to, social media, get off social media and stop comparing yourself to people on social media, because half of it's fake anyway. But these people, we're sitting there, we're failing, we're really not doing this. You know, they're going, look, we've hit, you know, what, 6-figure months or whatever they're saying. And we're like, we're not doing that. Yeah, because they've been doing it for 17 years. We've been doing it for 2. Like, we need to calm down a little bit, you know? So I think that's one thing that, and everybody always feels like that. Like, I know people that do own multi-million pound businesses, and they all feel like that too. Like, everybody's just doing it and going along with it and figuring out what the next move is. And because once you've achieved one thing, you need to carry on and keep doing it. And that's part of the process. It's all just about just carrying on, just keep going, just keep doing it.
I think it's also, when are you ever happy? I think we had a really good conversation with a lady called Mandy that was on the podcast, and she had her own business, as she still does, but she got diagnosed with cancer twice while running her business, and her whole perspective on success and what it looks like and what you're all doing it for completely changed.
Yeah.
And I think it is so difficult to, there's toss up between, yes, you want to do 100, 200k month or whatever, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
What have you put into that?
Yes.
What sacrifices have you given? Because realistically, I could make the business do a lot more than it's doing, but I wouldn't be off with Austin on a Friday. I'd be working every weekend. I'll be doing a podcast every day. All the stuff that you want to do, we'd be doing, like, I'll be traveling around the country doing all the stuff that I don't want to be doing.
Exactly.
It's all doable, but do you want to do it?
What are you trading for that?
And like you were saying about the beer and the 6-pack, do you want it? What do you want? Do you want to be able to grow your business steadily and incrementally and at the pace that feels right and work with the people you want to work with? Or do you want to just be your life? Because there is some people that are in their early 30s. Like, I always use him as an example, but the guy that is it Ben Francis that owns Gymshark?
Oh, yeah.
He just dedicated every aspect of his life to that business. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely massive.
Yes.
But that is all he did, all day, every day. And yeah, he was a billionaire when he was 32 or whatever, which obviously one in a billion probably would do that. But he give every aspect of his life, and to what cost?
Yeah, exactly. And when you have children, you can't necessarily do that, nor do you really. Well, personally, I don't really want to. You know, we actually do struggle quite a lot with the time of our businesses and being parents and having a relationship. You know, like, it all gets shuffled around a lot constantly. And it's only really been recently that, like, even with the coaching, I've actually handed some of my clients over to Stephen because I don't have the time to be able to manage everybody. I just can't.
And I guess part of what you do as well, you have to adjust when people aren't working. So I guess you're doing PT stuff outside of the 9 to 5 of where they work, right?
You mean coaching the clients outside their own work schedules?
Yeah.
So because we're all based online, it's easier for us because we actually have clients all over the world. So we have Australian clients. So that time difference can be a bit of a struggle, but we give them a plan and they execute it in their time, which is kind of the beauty of what we do. Yeah. But yeah, it's that's not to say that we also then have to take on and manage when we bring on a client, we'll say to them, what do you do? What's your capacity? And then they'll explain to us, well, we've got people that drive trucks all day, every day. Trying to say to them, have a meal prep. They're like, well, I can't put my yogurt in the car because it's going to go, they can't do that. So you have to figure out a way around all of that and figuring out a schedule for them. But yeah, I mean, going back, it's just that gratitude thing. Like me and Stephen will look at our lives sometimes and we do compare ourselves. Don't get me wrong, we don't. We're a lot better at it now, but we're comparing ourselves and we think actually what we have is pretty amazing. What we've achieved is pretty amazing. So we should be really happy and grateful for what we are doing, and where we're at now. And we were comparing. I remember there was this one girl that I met when I was at this business coaching, and lovely girl, really got on with her. We clicked instantly, but she is single. Doesn't have kids and lives on her own. And I'm comparing myself to how much she's showing up. Yeah. And I'm like, but she doesn't have another job. She doesn't have kids. She doesn't have a partner. Yeah. So I shouldn't compare myself to that.
And also, like, look at what she might not want any of those things, but that's fine. And but you compare all the things that you do have. Yeah. So it's about balance as well. Yeah, she might be able to do more, but you've also got that family unit that's really important and all that sort of stuff. So again, she might not want those things, but it's also about the point that I'm kind of making a bad example of there is that it's about pushing what you want, isn't it? As opposed to what, like you say, there's people that are single and drive in and stuff like that, but I don't want that. I don't want to be single, living alone, miserable, just focusing on work. That's not what, I'm not saying she's miserable, but do you know what I mean? Like, some people want that and that's what makes them happy, but that's not what makes me happy. So I need to find space and time for the things that do without punishing myself for saying that I'm not working.
I think that's one thing that social media does too, is make people forget what they actually want. What is true to you? What do you want? When was the last time that you sat down and you thought, right, Luke, what do I want? What makes me happy? Not what I think I want, what will look good to other people, what do I post?
It's an interesting question because I did that about 2 weeks ago. I was in therapy and he said, what makes Luke happy? Like, what in the core foundation of who you are? It could be a stupid example. It could be walking the dog, or it could be whatever. Just write down. And I struggled. I wrote 2 things down. And I was like, I don't actually know.
No, yeah.
And it was a conscious effort across about a week of thinking about it to write a list of like 10 or 12 things, because I don't think about it. It's not something that you sit and spend any time thinking about.
No. Yeah, you don't give yourself space to think about it and understand.
And it's really, really important thing, because why am I pushing for something that I don't know is something that I want to be pushing for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And also realising when to stop doing a thing that is no longer serving you. Yeah. Like, it's okay. It works out really well that me and Stephen are genuinely passionate about helping people, making people feel better. Because I'm a huge empath, so I know how that feels and I'd love to pass that feeling over to somebody else. But also, even selfishly, speaking to people in my family some people have mentioned to me about using like Ozempic or Mounjaro, and my stance on that is
I was going to ask you about that. What's your take on? I know what mine is, and I've got quite not a strong opinion on it. But what do you think?
I have a strong opinion. It's laziness. People are lazy. It's the epitome of everything that's wrong with society. I just hate it. Everything about it.
Say what you really think.
Yeah. I just think there's a place for it for a very specific group of people. Mm-hmm. And it's a drug that can help a certain very small niche demographic. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is lazy. Everybody else wants a quick fix. And the fact that you are positioning aesthetics over your own health, to me, is absolutely wild.
I think it's been marketed and spoken about in a really, really bad way. I think that I agree. I don't think that it's. I think the problem of it is that it's probably feeding into the thing that we were talking about earlier on about just aesthetics, being skinny and what it needs to look like, and not partnering that with health in terms of eating healthy. If people feel, I understand why, if people struggling to lose weight and struggle to do that for a long time, they would do that, but it has to be partnered up with eating healthy and fixing what the problem is.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely deflecting my anger at the wrong place there. I think my frustration is more just coming from the way that aesthetics is marketed.
Yeah.
You know, that the way that society positions being skinny.
Yeah.
That's where my frustration is with the way that the
way
discourse
it's been sold,
is.
basically.
Yes, it's not against people, because I do understand when you're feeling that way, and you. That's where it all came from me. You know, when you look in the mirror and you really hate the way that you look, that self-disdain is just awful, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. But you have to.
It has to
commit
come from
to learning how to change the habits. Otherwise, you'll be on it for the rest of your life, and two,
you're not fixing the problem.
Yeah, you're not fixing the root cause. You're just sticking a plaster over it and hoping that it's going to work. And and you're just ruining. It just makes me sad. I think because you're ruining your life. And
I think it's one of them where, unfortunately, it comes from like a lot of bad drug situations. It comes from the US of celebrities losing loads of weight and they're looking great, and then that's all you see in newspapers and all you see on Instagram and all you see everywhere is how great they look and how great they look. And it's Ozempic there, isn't it? Is that what it's? Yeah, the Manjaro is a UK one, isn't it? Or
I don't know. Yeah.
But it's great. It's great. And you're feeding back into that really bad. Like the Kardashians are just the worst example for kids and women, I think, because they're just all fake. It's all rubber or whatever it is. It's not real. And then you set these expectations for people that are just unachievable and unfair. And then so now the view on it is that with Botox and fillers and whatever and weight loss injections, why can't you be perfect?
Yeah.
And that's such a bad way of people being whatever age, whether you're 13 and just kind of understanding the world of makeup or whatever, or you're 30, 35, 40, the way of society and how it's shown is there's no reason why you can't look like anybody else on Instagram, because there's gyms, there's Botox, there's boob jobs, there's bum
lifts,
whatever they're called, and there's weight loss stuff. Why can't you? And I just think that takes away, like you're saying, the whole health side of it.
Yes.
The whole real core of, I think it'd be, sounds weird, but if you could cut someone in half and just actually see how healthy they are on the inside, I think it'd be really interesting.
Imagine if life was like Shallow Hal and everybody looked like what their insides look like, rather than, and I mean insides in terms of their health rather than like their personality. But yeah, it would be interesting definitely to see.
I also think that it's really important, and again, Mandy that was on the podcast, I took a lot away from our conversation, but she was saying that in terms of health on your inside, that you should regularly be going for blood tests and understanding what your bloods are and what your iron levels are or what your B12 is or what your levels are. And I think understanding, someone said this to me years ago, I know how my body feels. I know when I'm tired. I know I never really understood that until I worked on, I just felt like I was tired all the time. I didn't know my body. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Some people say things to me when we first start out in our journey. I'm like, so I've got clients that come to me and they say, oh, you know, I feel like this a lot. And I'll say, that's not normal. And they go, really? That's just how I've always been. And I'm like, but that doesn't mean it's normal. You know, you shouldn't be tired all the time, and you shouldn't really have problems falling asleep. And I do think things get blanketed as well. So people will just associate, oh, well, I'm this way. You know, everybody sort of self-diagnoses.
I don't sleep much.
Yes. And that's not right. That's not what you should be doing. You know, you should look to fix that problem first and feel really in tune with your body. And you can know your body. I mean, I know literally when I'm ovulating. I'll say to Stephen, like, oh, right, by the way, I'm ovulating right now. Like, right, I can feel it happening. He's like, what? That's so strange. But like, yeah, you just become so in tune with your body and you feel it happening. And that's what I think people should get to and focus on and look at and realise that, you know, I think that shift definitely came more when I had a daughter specifically, because obviously, like we're saying about beauty standards, it breaks my heart to ever think about her trying to, or not feeling, you know, a certain way about her body, even to the point where sometimes, you know, like a toddler will always have a little tummy, don't they? They just look like it sticks out. It's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I'll always say, like, oh, look at that big tummy. And then as soon as I say it, I think,
Yeah.
oh my God, no, because I don't want her to think, oh my, I've got a big tummy.
Yeah.
That's not what I mean.
I know,
just...
and I say that to Austin all the time. When he's in his bath, he's just got a big belly.
Oh, it's
so
such
it's
a
like a little
lovely
beer belly.
But it is, isn't it?
And I'm just like, look at his belly. And then it's just, you don't know what they're absorbing and what they know. And I just think it's funny. It just looks really cute when he's, especially like when he's side on in the bath and just big belly popping out. It's so funny.
I love it so much.
But yeah, I completely get what you mean. And I think that when I sort of going through my sort of therapy and things like that, and he says about, he uses this analogy of, you practice to do everything else in your life, right? You master your job by studying and researching. You master whether you, I don't know, when you want to do a 5K, you keep doing another one, and you might stretch more, you hydrate more, you eat more. But not nobody, a lot of people don't invest that in their own self, their mind and their body. And I'm trying to go through that. It's a difficult thing to change what I've been doing for the last 30 odd years to do that. Yeah. But knowing your body and knowing, okay, well, I am tired, but why am I tired? What have I changed? What have I not changed? What should I be doing more of? As opposed to just accepting that you're always tired.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that's a really difficult one to start really training and focusing and learning yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not selfish to do that. I think that's what I struggle with.
Goodness, no. No, of course it's not. It's never... I don't understand that notion of it being selfish because, at its core, I suppose it's like a complete... That's what it is. It's for yourself, isn't it? But it's also for everybody else around you, for your own life. And if you're not going to be selfish in that respect, then you are not going to exist. So... it doesn't, for me, it doesn't really compute that side of things. But even being a mum or being a partner, if I'm not exercising, I know my mental health takes a dive, and I know that I feel awful. So I'm not showing up. Even when you're tired and your temper, I don't know about you, but it's just your level of patience. Yeah. Because you just don't have it because you're tired. And that is because you are tired. So you need to try and fix that. Like, even, obviously, having a toddler, it's not as straightforward. But when we were on holiday, we went to bed the same time she did because we were exhausted and we were having 10 hours of sleep a night. Yeah. And that was incredible for parents who run business, like 10 hours. Yeah. But we both said how different we felt when we woke up. And
the first night you're probably a bit groggy because you're not used to it, but then after that, if I sleep longer than normal, the first night I'm like, oh, and then I get used to it a little bit.
I think it depends on like the sleep quality as well. I think that because when you're on holiday, obviously there's a lot of factors into that. It's not. I
dream loads when I'm on holiday.
Yeah, that's normally to do with sort of other aspects like food and if alcohol, obviously alcohol, your REM sleep, your heart rate's faster, etc. Like
I stopped taking my Whoop off because
never take it off now ever.
I had it for, I think I had mine for, I don't know, 3 years or something, and I took it off because I'm really stressed at the moment and there's a lot going on. And it just wasn't helping me.
No.
It was saying everything wasn't good.
Yes.
And I thought, I need a break from being told how bad my sleep is.
It's almost an extra stress, isn't it? Like almost a placebo of...
And every morning when it said fill in my kind of journal thingy, I was like, I just don't want this.
I know, yeah.
So I've taken it off for a while. I'll go back to it once I kind of feel like I'm a little bit... It was just like somebody else saying to me...
You're failing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm taking this off for a while. I love it. I think they're really, 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 really good tools to understand what's working, what's not working, how your sleep is, keeping track on... Like, I really like that it will say after I think it was after 90 days, and he does it monthly, I can't really remember, but it will say... You sleep better when you have like a magnesium tablet, or you do this, or you do this, or you do this, or you don't sleep. All that stuff's really good. It was just like someone nagging at me saying, "You're not sleeping well. You're not sleeping well." And
I know.
I don't need you. Go away.
Kudos for you though for recognizing that and then taking action, against it to say actually this is one extra thing I do not need right now, so I'm just going to take it off and just deal with it and come back to it at a different point.
Yeah, it was telling me off all the time. What's the journey looking like going forward? Are you So we're talking a lot about not putting too much pressure on, or not feeling like you're not hitting these numbers and stuff. What is the plan? Do you have a plan, or are you kind of just trying to take it one step at a time?
I have learned to. I'm trying to learn to relinquish some control over a plan, because then I find myself getting very stressed when I'm not on that exact course.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I have realised in my whole life that actually I sort of had a bit of an epiphany recently. Where I'm like, oh, why do I not apply that to business? Is things always seem to work out for me, like in a certain way. And the way that things I think are going to go, if they don't go that way, I might be stressed about it at the time, but then it ends up being better than I thought it could ever be.
Yeah.
So why do I not take that approach sometime with business? Like sometimes if things aren't working the way that I think they are, then just let go of that thing and let it take its own course. Like specifically recently where I've had to let go of some of my clients. So they let go, I've passed them over to Stephen because he has more capacity than I do currently. And it was a very bittersweet feeling, partly because I felt like I was failing because I was not having the clients anymore. Also because a lot of the clients are my friends now, and I like that rapport that we have and the conversations I get to have with them every week. And it felt a bit sad. And almost part of me was thinking, I'm losing friends. Like they're not going to like me anymore. And that whole, and I do take it very personally when dealing with my clients. So, that was a struggle. But I realised that to grow our business, me pushing myself to the point where I was making myself ill is not helpful for anyone. So I need to step back from that. And I still obviously run the back end of the whole running of a business. I just don't have as many front-facing clients anymore. But then I've picked up new contracts in my IT roles that is taking me around as well. Like I'm doing a lot of traveling. I'm in London tomorrow for a conference. So I'm loving that work. I'm really, really enjoying it. And that obviously comes with a good income too. So, I have to focus that. And I'm going through, it sounds strange, but I'm going through a really nice mum phase at the moment where I'm really enjoying motherhood, and I'm really enjoying, she's getting to that really lovely age where she's like my best friend and she really wants me all the time, which is lovely. So, yeah. And then subsequently to that, my own training has taken a bit of a back seat recently. So, I'm just trying to juggle it all in the right way. But yeah, I just have to, I know what I want. I have have like the big goals, don't you? Like this is what I want to achieve by this time next year. But the road to that, I'm just going to, at the moment, just see where it's going and enjoy that.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think it's really hard to find, I've always been a process and a plan, and I want this, this and this. But then I beat myself up or get stressed when it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But then also, like, sometimes, like, it is what it is. Like, everything happens for a reason, and you can, where I am now with work is not where I thought I was going to be, and not where we were a year ago.
I know.
Completely different. So sometimes you got to just respect that, understand that, and just know that if you keep working, you keep grinding, you keep going. I've started, so we had a conversation about strategies and a plan for this and a plan for that. And I think there's definitely a space for that. But I think there's also a space of I think there's phases, right? There's phases in life and work where you have to plan and strategize and be really specific of what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
But then there's also times when you need to just let it happen and let it be.
Yeah.
And trying to work those out are quite difficult, but I feel like grafting and just letting what we will be, there's a beauty in that takes away from beating yourself up when it hasn't happened.
Exactly. And when I first started the coaching, I remember saying it was September this time, so literally just over a year ago. And I said, I'll be really happy if I could get 5 clients. I'd be really, really happy if I could do that. And then next thing I know, I had 12. And I was like, but, I didn't panic. I just sort of thought, right, I'm just going to have to go with it, just figure it out as I go along. And I'll obviously inevitably make mistakes, but I'm a firm believer in the more you fail, the more you learn. So, you know, failure is never a bad thing. It's always a good thing because you have a lesson from it. So, yeah, so you just sometimes you can't always predict what's going to happen as much as you want to and control what's going to happen. You just have to let it, because sometimes it'll be better than you even possibly imagined it could be.
You got to sometimes embrace the chaos of how did you market yourself to go from, obviously the business was already there, but how do you market yourself across sort of different countries, and how do you get the new clients on board?
So, how did we do that, really?
I don't know.
I don't know. It just happened. I think it was probably a concoction of a lot of different things. So obviously my partner is Irish, so we already kind of had that Irish market, which was quite nice. And then we had people that we knew that had moved over to different countries, and then that came with its own marketing because it was word of mouth.
Right.
So, and maybe not to toot my own horn, but both me and Stephen know quite a lot of people, so that definitely helped. But from my previous work in building the website, I had a lot of sort of experience in building a website and SEO and everything else. So our website traffic was insane. I think not this period, last period, the last quarter, our website was like almost 1 million views.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so I don't know. My personal Instagram account, I think I got up to 500,000.
Wow.
You know, you come up with that professional dashboard, doesn't it? It was like 500,000 views, which was insane. Yeah, I don't know. And if I'm honest, we've just tried and tested everything. We've gone through phases where we've posted stuff that just absolutely flopped, and then we've gone through phases.
That's the beauty, isn't it? You just got to just stick it out and see what happens.
You just got to keep doing it and trying and just, you know, going over and marketing yourself is a really strange thing to do. It's really odd. That I find really strange, especially as somebody who's always a bit more reserved and doesn't like to. And obviously, there's that extra part of we like to work with parents, but being especially in my domain, putting my daughter out on social media was always a huge no-no for me.
Same.
And that's been a struggle. And I've had really negative stuff about that before as well. Like, you never post your daughter. You obviously don't spend any time with her. And I think, what a strange concept, you know? But yeah, so that's hard in two respects, because obviously you're so proud of your child. Like, sometimes I just really want to post up a picture, but I know that I can't.
Yeah.
And I get that weird DM from that weird man, and it reminds me, you know, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just try everything. Just try and fail.
Failure is the thing that a lot of people struggle with, I think. That's the hard thing to adapt to.
But you're only so many failures away from success. Like, what was it? Amazon didn't make a profit for like the first 25 years or something stupid like that.
He's doing all right now, though.
Yeah, exactly. just try. Just keep going.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I feel like sometimes, and I would have been the person that thought this, right? When people say you just got to try and don't make any profit for a while, or you could run a business for a couple of years without making any money, and then I'll be one that's saying, well, how do you live then?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But sometimes it's a case of, again, going back to the example of what do you really want? It's really reducing your lifestyle down for a while to nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I was on minimum wage for 2 years, like literally just enough to pay, like minimum wage in terms of a business minimum wage is not much money.
No.
So it was a case of just paying bills, not going anywhere, not doing anything, not buying anything, working in my garage for 2 years just to get to a point where I could move into a little office.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes it's a case of saying, being real with it and saying, people kind of make it out as if, oh yeah, you can still do what you want to do and not make any money. It's just not real. I mean, I can't imagine most businesses start out and they're making money and loving life. It's just a case of you just got to try and accept the fact that you're going to have to sacrifice a lot.
Yes.
To then hopefully it works out. And if it doesn't, you've learned a lot about yourself and your character in that time anyway.
You have to have passion, I think, because otherwise you'll give up. you have to be really passionate, because there's so many times. I mean, we've said since the beginning that Stephen will give up his building, because Stephen sort of runs, they call it a gang. He runs a gang on site. It's nothing untoward. It's just that's the name of it. So he still does that too, full time, which is it comes with its own stresses itself. And we've said from the beginning that he won't do that anymore. He'll just coach. And we're 3 years down the line, and he's still building. You know, look, we can't just give up that job, because we need the income. But it's just passion. We've had so many times we've gone, oh, let's just not do this anymore. It's exhausting. But then we're like, oh, we love it. Like we just keep going, just keep pushing on, just keep.
And that's again
that
what you don't see. So if you look at both your socials, you wouldn't see you both have other jobs.
No.
And that's the reality of what it's often like running a business.
I never know whether to post that or not, because
I think so.
Yeah, it's almost that actually this is really my life. Like it's hard, and I've definitely started now to post and talk about it a lot more. But I don't know why, but always felt like people would be like, well, I don't really care about that. Like I'm not here to see that. I'm here to see because question I get asked all the time, what do you eat? You know, that's what people are there to see. That's why they follow me. Is I want to know what you eat. Do they really want to see that I'm in a health conference tomorrow in Excel?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they probably want to know what you eat, but they want to know what you eat. They're buying into your journey. Yeah. They're buying into you. They could probably find that same content from 1,000 other people, but they're buying into the content that you're creating and what you're eating. Yeah. So I think that you go into a health conference feeds into the knowledge, experience, and commitment that you're putting into then saying what you're going to eat, and it all buys into that journey.
Yes. Yeah.
I really struggle with personal branding. Yeah. I don't do it. I should do it, and it probably would help my business grow if I did. I just find it very uncomfortable and disingenuous. And to your point, I don't think anybody cares.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's strange, isn't it?
And I mean, you've got a big following. I haven't, so people care.
That big, but yeah. And me and Stephen, both of us switched off from Instagram over the week, and I posted up just a picture of me and my daughter in the pool. I think it was like 8 days later, and I had, I think it was about 6 people message me going, "Oh, I wonder where you gone. You hadn't posted. I was really worried about you." And I thought, people noticed that I wasn't on. Like that was really surreal for me. I was like, okay, like. Yeah, it's a very strange concept to promote yourself.
It is. It's also weird when people that you don't know very well seem to know you. Like I spoke to someone the other day and they referenced something that I said on a podcast, and I thought, this is weird. Because in my mind, I'm only having the conversation with you, and in my mind, we could be sat in a pub having the conversation. Yeah. So I know it's obvious. I know I put it on social media, and I know I put it on YouTube or whatever. But I always think that once me and you have this conversation, that conversation's over. Yeah. And I'll listen to it because I edit it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But in my mind, it's just bizarre that someone's listened to it.
Yeah. It's still very strange.
It is, yeah. It's
you said this on your story a few months ago.
Did I?
Did I? Okay.
Then you've got to realise you've got to be careful what you say.
Yeah. That's another thing as well, like filtering yourself down to finding that balance between authenticity and what am I going to say that's going to get, or even sometimes coming across wrong, or people get penalised so much for it. And this one example always sticks in my mind. Do you remember when Molly May, I think it was, she went on the Diary of the CEO, and she said we all have the same 24 hours in the day, and she got absolutely demolished for that comment. Yeah. And in my head, I think, poor girl, she's young.
I think she's one of those ones where I completely get what she was saying.
She was what she was trying to say. Yeah. She just didn't say it in the right way.
Yeah. And I think that the point that she was making, regardless of what point she was making, her being her, it would never have landed well. But I completely get what she was trying to say. Everyone has the same amount of time. But I think that, but the thing is, you can then spin it off a million different ways. Yeah. Someone that's just born in a third world country in a shed or whatever doesn't have the same 24 hours as you do. No. But there's all context around it, and I think that the thing is where you can snip a tiny little bit out, chuck that on social media, and everyone says how awful she is.
It's the context though, isn't it? Like, I always think it's the literal. So when she said that, she's not wrong. literally she's not wrong. We all have 24 hours. Like, that's the way that the world spins. Like,
Yeah.
and in my head, that's how I took it, because that's how my brain works. Like, I'm a very,
like a logical thinker in that way.
But and when it first came out, I thought, when you've been like, I don't why
what
is
have I
everybody,
missed here?
what's that? But and then you understand. But then I think, why are people getting so upset? Why are they penalising her so much? Like, have you never said the wrong thing? You just don't have an outlet to say it. Like, if everybody just calms down a little bit.
I think if people like, I kind of feel for Justin Bieber, people like that.
Yes, he's the other one I always think about. Yeah.
You've got someone following you around all day with a camera.
Yeah.
Multiple people. And if someone followed me around all the time, people wouldn't like me either.
No, they wouldn't like me either.
Because everyone has bad days, everyone has moments, and everyone has... I feel for anyone that's in the spotlight, because there's not many people that can come off squeaky clean. Because you always have a bad day. You always have someone that... I always think of a silly example. You know the film A Star Is Born?
Yes.
Seen that one?
I haven't seen it, but yeah.
He's basically buying... He's buying some, like, something in a shop, and someone just takes a picture while he was just, like, going to pay, and she's like, that's not okay. And he's just, no, it's just normal. Imagine everywhere you go, someone's just taking a picture. Constant. They don't care who you are. They don't want to speak to you. They just want a snippet of you for a moment.
Yeah. I think about that when celebrities have babies, and like they're in the back of a cab, and they're sticking those cameras right up to the windows, and I just think how much of a private time that was, or the angles that they get, and that you just think, like, it's just crazy.
I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't put that on my worst enemy. I don't know what the fame thing's all about. I don't get it.
No, I would never want the fame. It's that if you watch closely now, you watch some of the people that have got a big following on social media. Like, even I saw someone do it once, that Chrissy Seller, the lady that owns Honor Active. She's actually grew up in Stevenage. And they are constantly filtering themselves. They put something up and then they go, oh, but I meant it like this. This was the and I think, how exhausting not to be able to say what you want to say all the time without having to over-explain yourself.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I actually meant. Like,
I think that's why longer form content is so popular now, and people like it, because you get time to, like, for example, when we spoke a second ago about the Ozempic stuff, right? Then you have time to say, well, that maybe on my angle is sort of misplaced. You get the moment, right? But if you had that just on social media, that snippet, which we will use,
that'll be hated. And we're like,
but that's what happens, isn't it? You get a moment.
Calls you lazy.
Yeah. So I think this longer form, like the whole Joe Rogan thing, he's been cancelled so many times, but he's so big and so he's kind of on his own platform, in his own space now anyway, even though it's Spotify, but it gives the time for people to speak. And I think that's for everyone that wants to... Fame is such a weird one, and socials and all that sort of stuff. Everyone wants to know the real people, but then they want to find a way of picking people apart.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't get it.
I don't either. Life's too short for all of that, in my opinion. And even that, like now, in my life specifically, I obviously preach a lot about health and fitness, and that is what I stand for. That doesn't mean there's not periods of times in my life, like now, where I'm not going to the gym every day.
Yeah.
Mostly because of time, but also some other factors as well. But I'm not, it might appear like I'm not living that lifestyle anymore, but I am. It's just I'm doing it in a different way. I don't have to constantly. And there's definitely been times where, even more recently, where I've put on, I say I put on a bit of weight. It's a couple of kilos than I had done. I was sitting at comfortably. It's not a lot at all. And in myself, I feel fine and feel comfortable, and I still like the way I look. But then sometimes I think it's like that second guess in my head where if I post this picture, will people look at me and think, oh, she's obviously not doing what she says, and she's not... I
know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm not failing, but that constantly living up to that expectation is really difficult to... But that's where we try and show our lives as much as we can in the fact that, we do make healthier choices, but then we are human, and sometimes we do want a takeaway, or we do, eat
a chocolate bar or something.
Yeah, we went to a wedding at the weekend.
When I say a chocolate bar, I'm thinking of a big chocolate bar.
Yeah, that's a bad example for you for me. I'm one of those really annoying people who I don't really like chocolate. I don't like fizzy drinks. I don't like, I'm one of those annoying people. But yeah, Stephen does. Stephen demolishes so much. He's like a human dustbin. He has so much food. But we just, you know, we always say it's sort of, if you're doing it 80% of the time, then, you know, and there's definitely different choices you can make. For now, my default is I always park the furthest I can away from the shop so that I can get the steps in, just as a default now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, maybe I will have a pumpkin spice latte that's ridiculously amount of sugar in it. But, you know, I will. That's just, you have to balance that life out and where you are at currently and what goal, like we say, what goals are you currently aiming towards? But yeah, it's constant.
But I do think it's good that you're in that space, but also being real and honest about the fact that it must be exhausting for people on Instagram that have these crazy, like, their life and their image is just, their image is just their life. And it must be exhausting.
Yeah.
Always being like in the perfect shit. And it must not be fun. I always look at these people and I think, don't you want to just put your feet up and have a bottle of wine? You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to just have a chocolate bar in front of the TV, glass of wine, and eat too much that you probably feel a bit sick.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to do that. And some people can't do that because their whole life exists around just looking perfect on Instagram. And I think it's just quite sad.
We definitely started out like that, I think. But that was, we're very new to the game then, very new to sort of posting our lives on social media. And I quickly realised I cannot keep this up because it's absolutely exhausting. I would rather just post what I post and people follow me. And if they want to, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. Than constantly pushing and trying to look a certain way and post certain, even the aesthetics. Like somebody said to me once about making your grid look aesthetically pleasing. I thought, I haven't got time for that. I can't be posting up I can't be picking out what colour top I'm going to wear just so it matches all the
It's a lot, yeah.
No, I just can't.
I'm a big fan of Post Malone, and he's very weird and eccentric and different. But he said that when he started out his career, he was kind of had cornrows and very, very different in the space, and he got slated for it. But he said that he's not trying to please the people that don't like him. He's trying to please the people that do. And he spends his time focusing on the people that do.
Yes.
And writing music for him. And if he likes it, and the people that want, and then he wants to be part of that group of people. And I think that's just a good example of life. And like you were saying, if people want to follow you, they'll follow you.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to follow you, there's a lot of other people to follow. So
exactly.
I think just being true to you, and that's what I was saying. If you want to post about other aspects of your life and see what you're doing and where you are and other things that you're doing, people like that or they won't. And there's more to life than kind of followers, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the more I get into that game, the more I realise I don't enjoy that side of it. So that's why it sort of almost reiterates to me that just do what you want to do. Post what you want to do. Yeah. And people like you, they like you. And if they don't, they don't. Just carry it, because
it's life, isn't it?
Too exhausting.
And there's always going to be people that don't like you, regardless of what you try. So it's their problem, isn't it?
In every way possible. There's always something.
There's always something. I still get emotional and not emotional. I still take it personally. People don't want to work with us or don't want to come on the podcast or whatever it may be. But I just think actually probably wasn't right for me or you anyway.
No.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's totally cool. And I'd rather do something that works than force something that doesn't.
Yes.
So it's just adjusting to that, and kind of you have to go through the pain of feeling that to learn not to feel that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's been a really big lesson I've learned, I think, for the last sort of 6 months. And even when Georgia came on this podcast and I messaged her and I said, the way that you articulate yourself is something I'm really striving for, because I've always struggled, one, to articulate myself. And I think it's because I always feel really misunderstood. I don't want to be misunderstood, so I have to try and over-explain myself.
Yeah.
But also just that, like the ums and the likes and the uhs and that. And I'm really trying to move away from that as well. And she said, just don't care what other people think. Just talk. Just be you. And it's something that I've really tried to work for recently, and just realised that I take so much personally that is not personal. Yeah. So I just need to be okay with myself and be happy with myself. And I genuinely feel like I've got to a place now where I am actually content and like,
good.
You know what? I like what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm just going to carry on with what I'm doing. And I mean, nerves are always a good thing. Like, I was obviously nervous before I came on here today, but you just have to.
I also think as well, if you're not nervous about it, you don't want it enough.
Exactly. It's just a form of excitement, and you actually care. You care about what you're talking about. You care about the way that you come across, and that's a good thing. If you didn't care, you wouldn't feel nervous. You'd just be like, oh, okay, whatever, you know. And that's not never a place you want to be at, is it?
No,
You're obviously
exactly.
not doing the right thing if you don't care. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but I think it feeds back into what you were saying before about we finding things to stress about. Like, I'm the same. I always care, but I don't so much anymore. It's still, some people are very much in my head of what they care, what they think about. But generally, when you're doing a podcast, like an hour and a half, 2 hours talking every week, and that's going up every week, a lot of people aren't going to like me, but that's up to them.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I think people will like me, but I kind of always, it's finding that balance of how genuine I am. And I recently have changed the style of the podcast where I don't structure it anymore, because my view on it is no one cares listening to me on the podcast. It's the person that's on the podcast people want to listen to.
Okay.
So that's why I've started doing more talking basically in the last sort of 3 or 4, because my view was always they're not listening to me, they're listening to the person that's coming on. But then I just thought thinking, I'm not being me.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not being. I always felt like I would just ask a question and then be quiet and let them speak. But then I just started thinking, do you know what? I'm me. We've met at the Founders Club.
Yeah.
We had a good conversation, so I wanted to have another good conversation. I didn't want to be like, ask a question, you answer it, and kind of, it felt conversational, but it wasn't really me.
Yes.
So I've started to just, I don't really care anymore. Just going to say what I think.
People want to hear a conversation, I think.
Yeah.
Rather than question and answer.
Yeah, it was kind of it was a conversation, but it was my reserved self of a conversation as opposed to just. I always felt like I was good at asking people questions and getting people to talk and open up, but I wasn't doing that because I was too rigid and thinking about how it could come across best.
What was the shift for you?
I think I was preparing for a podcast and writing up a sheet of questions that we're going to go over, and I thought, I don't even believe any of these questions. These aren't things that I would ask.
Yes.
There were questions that I thought a podcast host should ask.
Right.
But I'm not a podcast host, I'm me.
Yes.
So I just need to do what I think a good conversation would be. And I was also thinking, what would I listen to? And I like ones where, like, again, Joe Rogan, they talk for 3 hours about nonsense, right? And I'm not obviously I'm a billion miles away from him. He gets 300 million views a podcast or whatever. But there's no point. I'm not going to be able to build anything with people that I'm talking to, or build a rapport or anything if I'm just feeling like I'm not me. Mm-hmm. So,
and have you enjoyed those podcasts?
A lot more, yeah. I feel like I was chatting to people before the podcast in a different way than I was on.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to feel like I felt like I was talking too much or not talking enough or whatever. So I'm just going to wing it, and that's when I do my best stuff, when I'm winging it. So.
And it's not always about what you say, it's the way that you say it. Like, if you ever listen to people talk, if you listen to people talk who are passionate about what they're talking about, you're instantly interested.
Yeah.
Versus people that are, oh, well, if you think it's like this, you just switch off, your brain just switches off, don't you? So. And
I also don't want to, I was going through my head of not upsetting the person by disagreeing, but also not then disagreeing with something. When you have a lot of conversations and they're recorded, you don't want to be like disagree with something that somebody else has said or something. But I just think everyone's opinions change depending on the conversation or research or time or age or whatever. So I'm just going back to this whole social media thing. People are so quick to point stuff out that are wrong, or you said this or you said that, or you didn't say this on this, or you didn't do this or that.
Yeah.
But if that's what they want to do with their life, that's up to them. I'm not going to stop me doing what I want to do. And that's what I was kind of processed in my head of, there's always going to be someone that thinks, oh, you didn't say that time, or you didn't do this, or you said that person that. So again, I'm not going to please that person regardless of what I say. So I'm just going to waffle like I do best.
Yeah, me too. And it's exhausting trying to filter and constantly think, oh, what did I say then? And it's just exhausting. Just don't. And like you say, people change their opinion. You are allowed to change your opinion on something constantly.
Yeah.
I think as long as you are honest about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a yes man, agree with everybody, what everybody says is on here, but I also feel like you can have conversation, even in the same conversation, you can change your opinion about something.
And that's so allowed to do. Like, I feel like we're so penalised now into sticking you into one corner and being like, you have to be this and you have to have that view, where actually, like, I've even had it before where I've been working with clients and over a period of time, I've advised them to do something. I've gone away, seen different research and gone back and said to them, actually, I don't think you should do that anymore. I think you should do this. And that is working to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to change my mind on that. And
I think there's
people.
such a drive and expectation for perfection across every aspect. And just editing stuff. Yeah, editing stuff. I think, oh, maybe I could have done this, or could have said that, or maybe I could have edited that better, or this doesn't do this. And you're just learning. Like, we're not the finished article, and I'm not the finished article. No one ever is.
No.
And I think that push for perfection is just impossible.
Are you one of those people where like you'll end up be like 6 hours into editing, and you're like, oh, just let one little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more.
I used to be, and little things like. On one of them, one of the settings wasn't right on the camera, so it was trying to when people talk, they move their hands and this, that, and the other, right? So it was trying to focus too much. So it was like kind of the person was clear, but the background was kind of it was getting blurry and unblurry because it was trying to focus the whole time, and it was bugging me so much. But then I just think, do you know what? Like, we're just 3 people in our office trying to have conversations with people. If people don't want to watch it because of a little bit of an issue with our camera, don't watch it.
You probably realise that more than anybody else does. That would be anybody else.
And I started, it was a little bit more. Now I just think it's a conversation. At the end of the day, I'd rather it be a little bit more. I'd rather do more of them on a weekly basis and have them less polished and perfect. Obviously, we still want to do it well and clear, and the audio needs to be clear and all that sort of stuff. But I'd rather be less polished and perfect and spend not less time on it, but do more of that, have more conversations than do one a month and it be perfectly crisp and all this, that, and the other. So
I think that's a really important thing, especially in this day and age, because of not just social media, but we're going to go back to the IT stuff here, but AI. Like, what is authentic? What is real?
Exactly.
And what isn't? So trying to show people that it's not a perfectly polished podcast with the right lighting and the right setting. It's because we're humans, and that's just what we're not. AI, we're not 100%. Pretend.
And it's also, I'm very open about the fact that I believe that we're very good at what we do. We're very good at the space that we work in, but we're not podcasters. Like, I started this 6 months ago because I thought it'd be a good idea. We bought good cameras and good mics and lights and stuff, but that doesn't mean that we've researched it and studied it. But next week, we'll probably do something a little bit better than we did this week, and then a little bit better, and then a little bit better. And if we look at the first ones, like, we've changed the thumbnail recently because we want to just keep improving. And I think it's little tweaks. But hopefully in a year, we're going to be in our own studio and proper professional lighting up and all this sort of stuff. But I think it's just that, like you said, the impatient side of you. I'm very impatient and want it all now. But if I had it all now, I wouldn't have learned. We could go to a studio and hire out a studio each time and get it all edited by somebody and all this stuff. But I'm not learning. What's the benefit in that? I'll still have the conversation, but I'm not having these little tweaks of, like, we tried a new camera today. Didn't work out as I wanted it to, so I might try it a different way. And it's all part of that process, isn't it?
All of that you learn in yourself as well, about who you are as a person. And that's, you said it earlier about, starting a business, and even if you end up stopping whatever you're doing, whatever that business might be, to anybody who's listening, I have learned more about myself starting a business than I have done at any other point in my life. And that knowledge that I have, I think now is invaluable. So I would always recommend doing it.
100%. When I was starting it out, the business, my dad said to me, start the business, and if in a year it fails, what you've learned that year, you won't have been able to learn anything else. And when you put your CV down on someone's table, because you were looking for a job at that point, and they say that you tried your business for a year, the amount of respect that you'll get for that will get you in and open a lot more doors than just going to get another job. Like, people know how difficult it is to start a business, and failing something and really trying is better than just never.
Yeah.
I've said this multiple times now, but I think it's a really, really good point. Of David Goggins said when he died, there'll be a list of all the things that he could have done, and a list of things that he did do. And he said, if the list of things that I could have done was longer than things I did do, then he feels like he's failed.
Yeah.
But all these things you could just try and mess up. Like, the podcast might do 2 more episodes and it never happens again, and it won't, but it could have done.
Yeah,
But
and
you
then
don't know
you're
unless you
not
try.
sitting wondering.
Yeah.
All that I can't sit with that wondering. That's what I can't sit with. I can't ever wonder, if I just done that, what would have been different if I I'd rather just go all in, just to do it and go, it didn't work. Oh well.
But you tried.
I tried. And I will be able to sleep at night because I know that I tried. And I know I pushed myself out of my comfort zone.
You might not sleep at night because you have another idea that night. Something that you need to try.
2 a.m. I'm like, I've got like a dictaphone on my phone, like where I just like record myself or write down or. Yeah. But I just want to say as well, just you talking about there about the sort of compounding habits as you learn, as you go through. That's exactly what health and fitness is.
Yeah.
Just little things
1%
every day. Just that little change.
I think that's what I do badly, is that I'll go, right, Monday morning, I'm eating healthy, I'm going to the gym, I'm drinking more water, I'm getting 8 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And then I do that for 3 weeks, and then I'm just bored, or I have one day where I don't do that, and I think, well, I haven't done it now, so I'm
just gonna give up.
But I think it's those incremental differences that, like, I go to, right, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times next week, and then I can barely move because I haven't been for ages, and everything's sore, and I won't go on the Monday and think, well, I'll go next week, and then I don't go for a month again.
Yeah. It's just do a little bit every day. Just try and change it. And even like the water thing is a big one for me, because I always say to my clients about drinking more water, try and aim for a minimum of 3 litres of water a day. And most of the time I get hit back with 3. That is a lot of water. When am I going to get time? And I'm always going to be on the toilet. And I always say to them, you'll get used to it. I promise you'll get used to it. And you do very quickly. And then you realise how thirsty you are.
Yeah.
Because you'll start to drink and you'll go, I'm sitting here, I'm like, my mouth's really dry. And
I find that the more I drink, the thirstier I am.
Yeah. Because your body gets used to you not drinking. Yeah. And you drink water and it goes, oh, thank you so much. Like, give me more, give me more. And then your body, it's all part of that. Your body is very clever, extremely clever. People don't give it enough credit, but it's very clever.
Yeah, it is. When you try and break down everything it's doing all the time while you're just sat there, it's nuts. And the thing is, I always think about a car, right? Think how many moving parts it's got, and it breaks down. Cars break down, right? The human body is doing a lot more than that all the time,
constantly. And
if you're not, and again, to the car analogy, if you're just putting old crappy fuel in it,
we use that analogy,
it's just not going to work. If you're not pumping the tyres up, if you're not looking after it, if you're putting, I don't know, lawnmower engine oil in it instead of proper oil, and not, it's gonna, and people take your body for granted. People say, if you ask a 70-year-old to give your body of if you ask yourself when you're 70, if you could have your body of a 30-year-old now, they would just, or £1 billion, they would snatch having that young body again, wouldn't they?
Yeah. And that works, I think, twofold on first of all, have you ever, I don't know, this probably resonate more with sort of females, but have you ever looked back at an old picture of yourself and thought, wow, I look really good then? But at the time, you picked yourself apart. You thought, I looked awful. I mean, there's pictures of me from last year, around the time I did a photo shoot, and I was really, really, really lean. And I remember thinking, I was a size 4 clothing. And I remember thinking there was a day when I thought I looked really fat. And I look at myself now and I think that's a psychological thing that I know I need to work on. And it will take time. Like, you unpick these habits, I've not got it all figured out, but nobody does. Yeah. And so give yourself a bit of grace. Like, just realise that actually you probably do look a bit better than you think that you do. But also just take care of your body. Like that analogy of a car. If somebody gave you your first car and that it was this really lovely, top state-of-the-art car, obviously in 5 years' time, it's not going to be state-of-the-art anymore. But if you were never allowed to trade that car in, you would take care of it so much. You would have it cleaned all the time, the right fuel. You would, pay extra for it to be cleaned personally rather than car wash, whatever it may be. But that's your body. If you don't take care of it now, when you're 80 years old and your hips hurt and your back's creaking and you can't move, that's because you didn't do what you were supposed to do when you were 30 years old. So, you know, you only get one body. Look after it, and it's yours. It's your home. You're never going to get a different one ever. So stop hating everything about yourself and just fix it. Stop playing the victim.
And also, no one's perfect. There's people that are in the best shape. Like I always think people like Chris Hemsworth or stuff. He's like in incredible shape, but he's not perfect. He probably doesn't like this or that or the other. And that's just how it is. It doesn't matter. You're never going to get the point where you look at yourself going, well, some people do, but that's called narcissism. But it's just life,
a lot more common in the fitness world than people think it is, especially people that, I mean, the worst people you'll find is the people that do stage competitions because it is such a competitive thing. And because you are working in the minimal margins there, and I'm talking like minimal, I'm talking about whether you eat now or in half an hour, like that kind of. And you'll realise that they are so picky and so particular about their appearance, and they hate the way they look, where everyone else is looking at them going, you look insane, you look amazing. Like, no, I don't. Yeah. You just have to.
When it was a PT I had quite a while ago, and I'm not the I'm always one of the skinniest in the gym, right? But I think to myself, I was really self-conscious, and he said to me, the thing is, everyone's in the gym because they're self-conscious too. They're not looking at you. They're not worried about what you're doing.
Really are not.
They are looking at themselves and worrying about themselves and probably thinking, I hope no one's looking at me.
Yes, exactly.
So you need, like that whole thing of stop worrying about anybody else thinks, because they're not worrying about you and what you're looking at.
No, they're not. And especially for women, because I think so many women will say to me, how do you have the confidence to just rock up to a gym? Especially them. It's a lot better now, but they were before very male dominated. And I've always sort of tended to train in bodybuilder style gyms. And because I know, one, people in the gym are normally some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And two, nobody cares about what you're doing. They really don't. And if every single person in that gym started exactly the same place that you are. Even the biggest, leanest man that you've seen, that big, huge guy rocking around like with drugs under his arms, he started in the exact same place you did. And all of those people would rather see you in there than see you on the sofa with a bag 100%. Of crisps and a bottle of Coke. Every single one of them. And if I see a woman in the gym who might not be the best form, if they look like they're going to hurt themselves, I'll probably say something. But I'm not thinking, oh, look at you in the right, but I'm thinking, well done for being here, you know, and everybody's thinking that. That's what everybody's thinking at the gym.
It's got to get your head out of that space.
Yeah, stop worrying so much and realise that you care what other people think of you more than you care about how healthy you are and how much you show up for yourself. About it. Especially if you've got kids. Like, you're going to be a really fit and healthy parent. Like me and Stephen, we were on holiday and we were the only parents playing with our child in the pool, like throwing her around and, you know, me and swimming and, you know, and we could do that for a couple of hours because we're fit enough to be able to do that. And I cared so much more about being able to do that with my child than what people think of me or how silly I might have probably looked being a dolphin.
I also, it's so true as well that I want Austin when he's older to not think that I have it all, but think that I've worked hard for everything. Exactly. Worked hard for work, worked hard to be healthy, to be fit, to be strong, to be able to play football with him when he's older, or he wants to go and, I don't know, go climbing or something. And I'm up for it, I'm going.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just part of, but you have to change mindsets and thoughts and views to be able to do that. And it's just accepting that and knowing that no one's perfect, everyone's trying. And I think that's in work, that's in life, that's in parenthood, that's in just for yourself.
Would be such a better place if everybody realised that we're all just trying our best. We're all just, or the people that are, you know, we're all just trying.
Everyone's trying their best, trying to get by and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah,
I think that's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah,
that's only been 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's
that's a personal best. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a really good chat, really good, honest, open chat, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And when we're in that studio in a year's time, professional editing, we're back.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you.